Welcome in, everyone. Welcome into Scap Live After Dark. I, of course, am your host here, Scap, and I am joined, as usual, here by Gary, the moderator. We are checking out these games tonight. Obviously, it's not quite as somber of an evening for me as it was last night. We are checking out this Warriors and Timberwolves game, which is drawing on to conclusion. Checking in on that right now. It is the end of the third, and the Wolves are up 21 points now. We had another game in the East tonight in the association, which, of course, we can check out here in a bit. But just want to discuss what's going on here in this Wolves and Warriors game real fast. If you are just joining us, welcome in here to Scap Live After Dark. Gary, many thanks for being here as well.
Yes, sir.
And as I said, we are now officially end of three. It looks like this series is all but over. A series which started with much promise and hope for the Golden State Warriors when they stole game one on the road in Minnesota. Unfortunately for them, in that game, in the process of winning game one, Steph Curry suffered a hamstring strain, a grade 1 sprain of the hamstring, which has sidelined him in the subsequent ensuing 4 games. And here we are now, 4 consecutive losses for Golden State, meaning 4 straight wins for Minnesota. It's not quite official yet, but 21-point lead for Minnesota at the end of 3 here. It is all but over. This game, that is, and the series. It is going to be a gentleman's sweeper here for Minnesota, and Minnesota will be advancing to the Western Conference Finals for the 2nd consecutive season. Kudos to them. Shout out to them. Shout out to Tim Connolly, who left Denver seemingly in rubble to go to Minnesota and build them into what they are now, which is a perennial conference powerhouse, it would appear. Again, this is their 2nd straight conference finals appearance. Playoff Jimmy Butler, who laid a dud last game out. Well, he didn't show up tonight either. We just got regular Jimmy Butler tonight. There was no playoff Jimmy in the building tonight in Minnesota. 12 points for him on just 3 of 9 shooting, and a whopping minus 25 for playoff Jimmy here in 31 minutes tonight for his Golden State Warriors, trying to stave off elimination. Steph Curry was cleared earlier today for some light practice. Who knows if he would have been able to go? I don't think so the rest of the way, even if they won tonight. But we're never going to find out because this series is over. And on Minnesota's side of things, Julius Randle has just been balling out in the last roughly 3 games now of the series. 9 of 12 tonight, 21 points for him, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. This is just a team effort by Minnesota. Really nobody is standing out outside of potentially, you could say, Julius Randle. Anthony Edwards, only 14 points, but he's only taken 9 shots. And the starters are just absolutely demolishing the Warriors here for Minnesota, at least from a plus-minus on-off standpoint. So it is now all but a foregone conclusion. 12 minutes away from that final bell sounding, or the final gun going off, the 0 clicking off, the final seconds clicking off on the Golden State Warriors, and their offseason officially beginning. Minnesota will get a little bit of rest, maybe, depending on what happens tomorrow night in Game 6 of that Nuggets and Thunder series. So we've got that going on. Gary, welcome in, Gary, to you again.
So is Draymond Green not that big of a superstar? I thought he was going to lead the Warriors to victory. I mean, he doesn't need Steph Curry, does he?
Well, Draymond Green, Gary, who we know is a triple single merchant that he is. He is actually in double figures scoring, though, tonight. He's got 10 points tonight, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, no blocks. So he was on his way to a quad single, but he did score 10 points. He does have 10 points tonight. So yeah, I mean, Kuminga was okay. He was decent off the bench with 19, but this game, we'll keep an eye on it. We could talk about it as we go throughout the night. Just probably going to stay with you guys to the end. I've got the old TV monitor going above here. So keeping an eye on that. Gary, I did want to talk about the other game.
I've got a comment. I've got a question.
In the Eastern Conference tonight, we've got the Boston Celtics, I would say, staving off elimination. Technically, they did because they were facing elimination going into tonight. But and I still completely and totally expect the New York Knicks to get this series over the finish line, ultimately win this series and advance into the Eastern Conference Finals. But I just want to make a commentary. I just want to make a commentary real quick on these on the Celtics team and just how absolutely loaded this team is, how pitiful it is that they really hadn't won a championship in the Tatum and Brown era until they loaded up to this outrageous and ridiculous degree that they have with this team. This team is so stupidly and preposterously stacked. I don't know how they let Oklahoma City get the best record this year. I don't know how they didn't even have the second best record. Cleveland had the best record in the East with 64 wins. This team only 61 this year. They had 64 last year. This team is so absolutely loaded on a night where literally 2 days ago, that devastating, heartbreaking injury to Tatum, they come out now, and they lost the game to go down 3-1. They come out tonight, though, on the heels of all of that that's going on, and obliterate the Knicks 127-102 in a game where Kristaps Porzingis scored only 12 points. He scored only 1 point in 12 minutes. And, of course, they are without Tatum. And they beat the Knicks tonight by nearly 30, 127-102, a 25-point lambasting of New York tonight. And this Boston Celtics team scored 40 points off of the bench. And that was led, of course, by sixth man of the year, Peyton Pritchard, who, though he did have 17, but not particularly a good shooting night for him. 6 of 17 from the field, 5 of 14 from three, but still 17 from him to lead the way. 40 points for the Boston Celtics from the bench. Just to put that in perspective, as we know, I'm watching the Denver Nuggets very closely in that series right now. They have scored 33 bench points in the last 3 games combined. So in the last 3 cumulative games, the Denver Nuggets total bench 33 points. Tonight, the Boston Celtics bench 40. That's how stacked this team is. Derek White leads the way. What is Derek White when they're at full health? Like the 4th best player on the team? That's
third, what I wanted to ask about.
Arguably 5th best player. He leads the way tonight, 34. And it's just really, it's ultimately not fair how damn good this Boston Celtics team is. It's laughable that they have just one championship, in my opinion, in the Tatum and Brown era. I know they weren't this stacked until last year, but obviously they got to be kicking themselves for the Tatum injury and for the fact that there's probably going to be substantial changes to this roster by the time Tatum is back. He's probably going to miss all of next year and those playoffs next season. So I'm sure they're absolutely kicking themselves for the fact that looks like maybe they're going to get out of this thing with only the one championship. But just to show how impossibly loaded that team was and still is potentially, even with everything that is transpired from an injury standpoint. And look, Gary, right when I came on here and buried the Golden State Warriors, I was already penning their epitaph there when we arrived on here. They are on a run here now in the 4th quarter. We still have a ton of minutes left here to play. 8:50. We've got a timeout here, an official timeout stoppage and play. 8:50 remaining in the 4th quarter. It is now that 22-point lead. I think it was 23 actually at one point, has been trimmed to 12 as the Warriors are on a 13-4 4th quarter run to open that quarter. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as we go. I'm going to look pretty silly with the thumbnail that I presented on this if the Warriors somehow come back to win that game. But welcome into all of you guys. I'm sorry, I do see Sully's TechHub can't slid in here with some kind of a comment here, Gary. Moderator Gary, can you tell us what Sully's TechHub had? What kind of comments going on here?
Yeah, not interested in this series, which, yeah, I agree. Here to pay my respect, support Scap, and boost the algorithm. Scap, have guests on your show.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly could consider doing some kind of a guest spots moving forward, or having maybe links of some sort. I don't really know much about technology or whatever is going on these live streams. I just like to come on here and spit some shit about sports and talk to you guys. But yes, potentially I would be open to doing something like that. And I do appreciate you, Sully's Tech Hub, for supporting the show and for coming on here and feeding the algorithm. Again, I don't really understand those things either. Gary, we actually, speaking of support or whatever, sponsorships, we actually did, we missed one, not last night. Last night was a bit of a frantic show here in the lounge. If you missed last night's show, it was a somber lounge for sure, to say the least. It was not an altogether pleasant night for me last night. With what was going on in that Nuggets Thunder series and what happened in the fourth quarter of that game, which we can certainly rehash that and bring that back up now tonight. I'm in a little bit better frame of mind now after tonight than I was after that game last night.
Back to hating Jamal Murray again?
No, I'm not hating Jamal Murray. I'm just it still is just a sullen depressiveness that is still taking over me.
Yeah. It's like when your girlfriend dumps you and you say, I'm never going to love another woman again. You're like 15 years old. You don't look at the big picture. Last night, you're like, I'm not going to criticize Porter and Murray again. Wait till next week. This bum-ass Porter sucks. Get rid of him.
Well, again, look, I think I'm more now stuck in the opinion that they're just completely overpaying. I don't look.
No, right.
It's hard. Like I admire what they've given here from an effort standpoint in this series to this point. I do. They are extremely overpaid. And look, Russell Westbrook, I've dug more into the things. I came on last night. I didn't have much ammunition last night because I was just shell shocked. I didn't really know what was going to go on last night in that show. I just wanted to get on, not look like a coward that I was dodging or avoiding coming on with the Nuggets losing like that in that fashion. So I didn't have much ammunition. Look, I've looked through some things and whatever. We've got Michael Porter Jr., the $40 million man in that series, averaging 7 points per game on 25% shooting from the field. We have Russell Westbrook, pretty much their only legitimate bench contributor at this point, really all season. He is shooting 6 of 27 for the last 3 games now. And just in general, the lack of really high leverage shooting throughout the series has been palpable, but no more so than last night in the fourth quarter, where Jokic finally, I mean, this dude was just pulling shots out of his ass, quite frankly. Like the pirouetting 3-point shot when he had picked up his dribble with a minute left to tie the game. Like 4 of 6 shooting in the fourth quarter for 13 points for Nikola Jokic, 6 points for the remainder of the Nuggets team on, are you ready for this? 1 of 15 shooting from the field. All non-Jokic players last night in the fourth quarter, 1 of 15. Hard to win a game under that when you're put under that stress. Jokic still had a really good fourth quarter, 13 points on 4 of 6. But ultimately, not enough help. It's what I've been saying all along. I think maybe the messaging has been wrong. I think I've been very critical of the complementary players around Jokic, which that's just my way of saying he doesn't have enough help. See, it's a back and forth. It's like a chicken and an egg. Which came first? People criticize Jokic. Therefore, in my defense and support of him, I then therefore criticize the supporting players. Perhaps I shouldn't be criticizing these players, but it's an undeniable fact they're just not good enough. 1 of 15 for every other player other than him in the fourth quarter in a game that was literally tied by him with a minute left. That ain't on him. So that we are where we are in that series. But what I was saying, though, was not last night's show, because we kind of came off the rails in last night's show, but the night before, I forgot I had signed out of the show and I did not put up this. We got this super chat by this funny little handle, Scap's Extra Strong Cologne, and with this kind of humorous little picture of me as the avatar. And I did not recognize this then. I don't know if this person, if Scap's Extra Strong Cologne is joining us again now here in the lounge. But in case they come back in, the question was, who was my all-time non-Hall of Fame NBA lineup? So I don't know if you want to address that now or not. Typically these things come in, and I don't have really time to unpack these, but we've had a night or whatever to kind of mull that over, or I guess 2 nights to mull that over. I haven't necessarily thought much on it because of all the games that are going on right now, but I just wanted to put that up. Thank Scap's Extra Strong Cologne, and maybe we can get into that a little bit later here. But Sully's Tech Hub is back in, so I did just want to give Sully another shout out here, and thank you, Sully. Gary, what does Sully have this time here?
Scap, I teach business English to overseas executives, and don't ask why, but your video about the rigged draft is being used in one of my lessons.
Wow.
That
is, I'm honored to hear that, Sully. Hopefully, I don't know how or why or what the context is on that, but I'm very honored to hear that. So hopefully, hopefully I come across, or whatever, the lesson goes well for in whatever capacity you're using that latest video about the rigged draft lottery, which you guys can check that out on my current videos. It's one of the most recent, 2 or 3 videos that are up right now. So Gary, checking in on the Minnesota Timberwolves and their pursuit into the conference finals here for the second consecutive year. They're holding to a 14-point lead now, 6.5 to go in the fourth. It looks like they kind of withstood that flurry that opened this fourth quarter.
What time are you at? I'm at 7:05. What are you at?
I've got 6:36 left in the fourth. 14-point lead now.
9-point game on mine, so I guess the Timberwolves got a run going.
Yeah, I've got 104-90 with 6:36 to go, and playoff Jimmy Butler in 36 minutes now, 14 points, 3 of 9. So again, playoff Jimmy, not playoff Jimmying. We can get into that game. We're just gonna stay with you guys, I guess, to the finish line on that. We could talk really about anything else. As I said, the Boston Celtics live to fight another day.
Hang on, I want to comment on there. This is what I want to know as a Spurs fan, and of course, we are always, Spurs Nation are always happy to see our own go off and flourish elsewhere. So we were really happy for Derek White's success. But let me ask, after tonight, I admit I didn't see the game. I have to go back and look. But remember what my complaint about Boston before was that all they did was play iso ball. I'm wondering now that Tatum is out, is there better ball movement? Is there more fluidity? Are they actually a better team? And is Derek White not only a really solid role player, is he potentially an all-star? Or could he become an all-star without Tatum?
I mean, I'm not ever going to look at one game's outcome.
He's been very consistent though for like 2 years now, and playing alongside Tatum. And now we see what he did when Tatum wasn't there. And I agree, you don't just go off by one game, but he's got a big body of work now. And he has looked like he's one of those guys who's bordering potential all-stardom.
Gary, let's not get overboard. Let's not go overboard here. Derek White does have a big body of work. He is 30 years old. He's been in the NBA for 8 seasons. He was a starter for many of these seasons, Gary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of his 8 seasons. He's a starter in the NBA. 13 points per game, 3.5 assists. 4 assists, 3.5 rebounds for his career. So, he was all NBA defense, second team. He was finished 8th in Defensive Player of the Year and was 2nd in defensive All-NBA defense again in 2 of the last 3 seasons. So never an All-Star, never All-NBA, never an All-NBA team, never I mean, I just said
I
he was a
know that
starter.
now. That what I'm asking is, could he become that in the future? Is what I'm asking. I know he hasn't. I'm saying that if he's
Gary,
not playing with
Gary, are you? Do we need to drug test you? I think something happened last night that we had to drug test you. I think. Do we need to? Do I need to send somebody to your location? No, Gary. He's 30 years old. He's been in the league for 8 years. Like, he's a nice player. He's an astonishing fourth best player. Like, when he's your fourth, which at full health, in my estimation, he's like the fourth, arguably fifth best player on the team.
Did you watch the game tonight?
Yes.
How did Boston look like they were moving the ball better? I did not see it.
Not really. They shot like near 53s again. Like it's still the same as what they've always been. 22 of 49 tonight. So they shot 49 threes. This is what they do. They just jack 53s a game.
Yeah, that's crazy.
If they shoot near 50% on those jack 53s, then they win. If they don't, then they lose. Like, that's just pretty much what it is. I think, look, Derek White's a nice player. He is it's insane fourth or fifth best player. Like, that's just ridiculous to have him be a fourth or fifth option on a team. Now he's whatever. If they're actually healthy, he's, I guess, the third or fourth option now. Kristaps Porzingis, though, is hurt, so they're really not even healthy enough to make. Maybe Derek White is the second best player now, but sure, they can string together this feel-good team win. All hands on deck type thing here in game 6. I'll be shocked if they win in New York. Although this would be the Celtics Celticing. It would be so Celtics of them if they actually did win that game 6, force it back into Boston for game 7, then lost that game 7. Like, that would typify the Celtics.
I don't know if but the Celtics, can they out Celtic the Knicks from nicking? Because the Knicks have been chokers for way worse than the Celtics.
Yes, but not this iteration, though. Not like Joe Mazzulla has been an unmitigated pants crapper. He lucked into that championship last year along with the rest of the roster. The Knicks in this current iteration, like, we haven't seen, like, we don't know what the Knicks could have done last year. Like, they were making a run last year. Like, we haven't seen this incarnation. It's unfair of you to say, oh, well, the Knicks have been choking for years worse than the Celtics. Well, I don't care what the jersey says. All I care about is what players are wearing those jerseys.
When's the last time the Knicks won a championship? Wasn't it like 1970?
But I don't care. It was in the 60s, but that's not my point, though.
Yeah, the 70s.
My point, sure, the 70s, sorry. My point is, these players weren't choking for the last 30 or 40 years. Like, I don't care about their jerseys, what says the Knicks, and like, therefore that we have to lump them in to be choke artists. I'm not about that. Like, I look at each player and each team build as a separate entity. Like, this team, we have never seen them really in the playoffs ever, in fact, because Karl Anthony Towns came in who was a massive piece to this Knicks puzzle, came in the summer. So this is the first time he's their second best player. Or maybe, I don't know. That team, it's a pretty good team. But I would say Karl Anthony Towns is their second best player, and he has not been in a playoff run with them until right now. Furthermore, the most of the players that we see here were actually on a pretty good run last year in the playoffs. They got derailed by straight injury. It was nothing else. I think OG Anunoby injured his hamstring, I believe, last year, I think, in the series that they ultimately, I believe, against the Pacers, that they ultimately lost in game 7. OG Anunoby hurt his hamstring. They were already without. Of course, they didn't have Cat on that team last year. They had Julius Randle, who was already out with a shoulder injury at the time. And then Brunson, like, broke a bone in his hand. So, like, and then they lost in 7 because they were completely depleted with injury. So I'm not going to say they choked last year. They just got too many injuries. And now here we are this year, like, okay, they should have probably closed out tonight. We'll see what happens in New York on game 6. But this team hasn't choked at all in the playoffs. This Celtics team chokes all the time. So we'll see. Now we'll see what the Knicks.
I agree with what you're saying, but what I'm getting at, it does seem that some franchises are just cursed. Me as a Cowboys fan.
Stop this nonsense. You're saying because of the uniform they wear, they chose like
okay.
Because like let's say the Bills
No. Hold on. It's not the jersey. It's the management. Because it may be different players, but you still have crap management. Just like Jerry Jones with the Cowboys, for example. It's the Cowboys continue to suck. Even there's always false hope. Not for me. I always know they're going to choke at the end. I don't get my hopes up. But there's always false hope because they look good in regular season. But Jerry Jones is a manager who does not build for the playoffs. Traditionally, like the Browns also have bad management. The New York Jets, terrible management. So that's kind of like what I'm getting at is the management more than the actual players. And it doesn't help the team perform in the playoffs when it counts. And the Knicks just seem to fall under that umbrella of one of those franchises that just doesn't get it done for whatever reason. There's always
Gary, let me ask you this, Gary.
There's always false hope, and then there's always an excuse why they lose in the playoffs. Same with the Cowboys.
Who is the best New York Knick? Let's just go to like 1990. Who is the best player that played on the New York Knicks since 1990?
I would say Ewing.
So would I. Was he the best player in the NBA at any point?
No.
Did they have a particularly loaded assortment of supporting players around him?
Well, he ran into Jordan too. So
right.
That was a problem.
Okay. Let's say since Patrick Ewing left, who's been the best player that has worn a Knicks uniform, would you say?
There's been a slew of guys. Allen Houston played with Ewing, didn't he? After that, there were some dark days. Carmelo Anthony was there part-time. I think
probably Carmelo Anthony or maybe Brunson.
Right, Brunson.
They don't have great, for whatever reason, the Knicks, who are a premier franchise in the NBA, for whatever reason, they haven't been able to attract the marquee guy.
No, I agree.
They tried to get LeBron. LeBron flirted with them for back and forth for his whole career, basically. And then, look, they made a play for Durant when they wanted Durant and Kyrie. When Durant and Kyrie went to Brooklyn, to me, it's just a matter of they haven't had the best players.
No, I agree. What I'm getting at is the media will hype them up, though. Like if they have a nice run in the regular season, all of a sudden the media hypes them up, only to underperform in the playoffs. That's what I'm getting at. So look, the same thing with the Cowboys. If they go on a 6-7 game winning streak in the regular season, are they ready for the Super Bowl? I'm like, hell no, they're not going to Super Bowl. They're going to choke in the first round or the second round. They're not going to get past the middle of the playoffs. They never do. Dak Prescott is not that guy. So, and it's due to Jerry Jones's poor construction of the team. And I feel like the Knicks just fall under that same umbrella. A good team in the regular season. I do like this team. They are gritty and hard-nosed. So we'll see. Maybe they will break this. I'm not saying it's impossible.
And here's the thing. I think they should win the next game in New York. I don't know what the line's going to be. If they get it back into Boston, who knows what happens in that home setting. But I just I think it's unfair to characterize this Knicks team as chokers. I mean, the organization maybe bad ownership, bad management, whatever you want to say. But I don't begrudge any of these current players on this roster for the past failings of the organization. But Gary, we do have Sully's TechHub back in to clarify what the nature of this lesson is to his this English he teaches English to overseas executives. So he's clarifying what the lesson entails. So what is Sully using the latest Scap attack video in his lesson plan for?
Scap, all jokes aside, I am classically trained in perfumery, ISIPCA graduate, and worked for, I don't know how to pronounce that. Yeah, that looks like a French word or something. Do you know how to pronounce that, Scap?
Gary, that's what you're here for. Sorry.
Firmenich. I'm going to say Firmenich. Sorry if I butchered it. And I worked for Firmenich And I will straight up actually make a Scap's overpowered cologne if that's what you're into.
Well, if you are just joining us, I did put up, this super chat that I missed the other day from Skap, as you can see, Scap's Extra Strong Cologne. So that is what Sully is referring to here in this latest little sponsorship drop here for the Scap Live After Dark area. So Sully, many thanks for the offer. I don't know, maybe you and whoever is the owner of this Scap's Extra Strong Cologne handle can connect in the live comment area right now in the lounge and can sort something out here to maybe bring to life some kind of a Scap cologne. I mean, I would be interested. I personally, I don't really wear cologne. I've never been much of a cologne wearer, to be honest with you. You know, growing up, I don't want to really age myself, but growing up in the 90s when I did, you know, that was like the heyday of the body spray. You know, those ridiculous, terrible smelling body spray things, the Axe body spray and whatever, Under Armour, all the other knockoff ones. Like, even when those things were big, like I might have had one of those in my younger days where, like, if I was outside playing sports all day and had to go somewhere, I would maybe spray that on in lieu of a shower. But other than that, never been a big fragrance man myself. But Sully, some might be interested in some kind of a Scap cologne line. And if you would produce such a thing, I would certainly purchase one of these bottles. And maybe we could, it could be, we could have it on the show in some way. Maybe, Scap's overpowered cologne could be a sponsor of one of my videos or something moving forward. But Sully, many thanks for coming in yet again tonight and donating to us here on the Scap Live stream here tonight. I do appreciate you. We've got Naji Velin. What does Naji have for us right now, Gary?
Missoula using Cornet over Porzingis was big. Also, my Warriors are the Hornets and Wizards tier, level without Steph.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to really credit Joe Mazzulla with anything, quite frankly. He's just one of these entitled guys that kind of, in my opinion, got a position that he didn't really earn, doesn't deserve. I think he was 34 years old when he got that job when they canned Ime Udoka unfairly, in my estimation. I'm a big Ime Udoka fan. I think he's one of the best coaches in the NBA. Love that guy. And he was an amazing coach to me. I think the Celtics would be in much better hands overall organizationally if they had retained him. But whatever, they obviously get rid of him. We still don't really know the extent of what, there's murmurings, speculations, inside reports of what really went down with Ime Udoka. I haven't really dug into that myself. I'm not sure exactly what transpired there, but whatever, they get rid of him and they give the job to Mazzulla, who I do believe was 34 years old at the time. His resume was absurd looking, which how could it not be absurd looking? He's 34 years old. Like, he did nothing whatsoever to warrant that job. He completely crapped in his pants along with the rest of his team. In his first year, they come back more loaded than ever last year with Porzingis, and were too big to fail. They somehow get it done. They were well on the way to losing this series before the Tatum injury. They were well on the way to being down 3-1 before the Tatum injury. And you can speculate whatever way you want or say whatever you want about the fact that, oh, well, if Tatum didn't get hurt, they could have come back from the 3-1 deficit. We saw them fall down into a 3-1 deficit a few years ago to the 8th seed Miami Heat. They then won game 5 and 6 to force it back into Boston for game 7, where they were like 10-point favorites then after getting it back in. Actually, wait, I think they were down 3-0, to be honest with you. Gary, can you maybe do some fact checking while I continue this spiel? It would have been 2023. It would have been, I think it was 2023 season. I think they were down 3-0 to them. So first of all, you have the audacity with the number 1 seed Boston Celtics, that loaded ass lineup, to fall down 0-3 to a play-in Miami Heat team. Then they won 3 to come all the way back to make it 3-3, which was only like the 6th or 7th time ever that a team even got it to a 7th game in that series. They'd go into it like a 9.5-point favorite in Game 7, led by Coach Joe Mazzulla and his infinite wisdom, and they lose that game by like 20 at home as 9.5-point favorites after fighting back from an 0-3 hole. So don't give me the, oh, well, if Tatum, the injury, what poor luck for Boston, poor Mazzulla, poor Boston. Like, had Tatum not gone down, they might have been able to get it to a Game 7, win a Game 7. So what? We've seen their proclivity, their penchant for choke jobs already in the past, and I believe it was in 2023 in the series that I'm referencing. Gary, have you got that fact check?
What I just saw was totally inaccurate. It said in 2023 the Celtics beat the Mavericks, so obviously that's a year off. So I'm looking deeper.
Let me jump in here, Gary. It was 2023 Eastern Conference Finals. Boston Celtics, who that year, the Boston Celtics won 57 games behind rookie head coach, 34-year-old Joe Mazzulla. They had Jason Tatum, who was All-NBA first team. They had Jaylen Brown, who was All-NBA second team. That they had Marcus Smart still on that team, Derek White, Al Horford. Derek White, by the way, who was all defense second team that year. They had Malcolm Brogdon, who won Sixth Man of the Year that year. This team was jacked. They were the number 1 seed they were the number 2 seed actually in the Eastern Conference that year behind the Milwaukee Bucks, actually. But so Boston, the 2 seed, 57 wins. They go into that Eastern Conference Finals series against the Miami Heat.
You're right.
And I can confirm they lost 3 straight games to go down 0-3. And they didn't just lose 3 straight. They lost both games in Boston, close margins. They lost by like 7 and 6. Then they go on the road down 0-2 after losing those 2 home games and get obliterated in Game 3 by like nearly 30. Then they come back and in dominant fashion win the next 2 games. They then win Game 6 by 1 point to force Game 7, where, again, they entered as 9.5-point favorites, and then they lost by 20 in that game. So that is Joe Mazzulla. Those are the Boston Celtics. So they were well on their way to barfing this series up, even if the Tatum injury never happened. So, like I said, Naji Velin, I do not
We haven't seen John Ratcliffe in a long time.
I do not like, John Ratcliffe's been in hiding ever since his Celtics took this turn that they're on right now. And to the second part of Naji's comment here, yes, the Warriors are sheer ass without Steph Curry, obviously. The game is nearly over. It's all just window dressing at this point. There's a minute and a half left in the fourth quarter. The Warriors put up a little fight in the fourth. They've 33-24 so far in that fourth, but with just 90 seconds remaining, it is 117-105. That's a 12-point game. It's over. Steph Curry is, they just showed him standing on the sideline. He'll get to go and, handshake, do the handshake line with the Timberwolves and, congratulate them on their second consecutive conference finals appearance. And they could start, their whatever they're going to be doing in this offseason. I'm sure they will be trying to figure out how to get Jimmy and Steph more help in the offseason. So that's where we stand in that game. And we do have
probably go to Cancun with LeBron now.
Possibly
spend some quality time together.
Yeah, we can maybe set that up. Gary, next in we have CP, which this has been brought to my attention since last night's show. That CP is the handle of this person who is a repeat contributor here in the lounge. So thank you, CP, and welcome back in. I've been reading them as CPMYR. MYR is their currency type. So I just wanted to apologize to CP. Thank you, CP, for coming back in. And Gary, what does CP have?
Has Jimmy Butler done anything in this game? Well, not much.
Great question, CP. The answer is no. Playoff Jimmy, just regular Jimmy showed up. He he was sitting at a minus 25 at one point in this game. So kudos to him. He has worked that all the way up from minus 25 to minus 17. He has 17 points on the game on 4 of 11 from the field. So he's, he is leading the team in reverse in the wrong way in the old plus minus scale at the moment. So playoff Jimmy, not playoff Jimmying tonight. There is under a minute now, and it is a 13-point lead. It's just all people just dribbling things out, jacking up these last second. Ant Edwards, I don't even know why he's still in there, but he just made a little layup. Ooh, there's kind of a hard foul on Kuminga. Yeah, I'm not sure why these players are playing this out at this point. Under a minute, 13-point lead for the Minnesota Timberwolves, on their way again back to take on whoever the winner is of tomorrow night's game. I think the Nuggets are done tomorrow. If they win, there will be a game 7 on Sunday. I think it's all but over tomorrow. So the Thunder, I don't know when game 1 would be. My guess would be Sunday. If the Thunder end up winning tomorrow, we would get Minnesota and Oklahoma City game 1 Western Conference Finals on Sunday is my expectation. But who knows? We'll have to wait on that one. We're going to have another game 6 at some point, probably Friday, I would imagine, in New York, which will be a must-win game then at that point for New York, in my opinion. But many thanks for coming in, CP. Again, we do appreciate you. And we do now have another appearance from Jolly Joshams here into the lounge. Jolly Joshams, welcome in. Thanks for being here tonight with us and for your sponsorship yet again here in the lounge. What does Jolly Joshams have for us, Gary?
First cent for the Scap cent line. I'm going to let you read it, Scap.
First, so this is going back to Sully, a couple comments ago, who suggested that maybe Sully suggested maybe you could produce a Scap scent line, a scent line of overpowered cologne, and Jolly Joshams is suggesting that one of these scents be straight earth. So we could have that. We could have reprehensible earth. Undeniable earth. What we can have is the earth line of the Scap scent. So hopefully, I'm in. I'm down for this. I would wear ass. I would wear Scap ass as the fragrance line here at some point. So great point there, Jolly Joshams. And it is now official for the first time in team history. The Minnesota Timberwolves have advanced to their second consecutive conference finals. That's a 121-110 final for you. And just not a very good performance by Golden State. They were tight in the first half. Minnesota came out and kind of got distance in the third, as they had the last couple games, quite frankly. And just a team effort for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Julius Randle was again fantastic tonight. 29 points on 13 of 18 from the field for Randle. And I'm just looking over some of these recent games. 24, 24, and 31 points for him in his last couple games. And on pretty high shooting percentage, 60%, 44%, 52%. This guy has come to play in these playoffs. And Julius Randle, who's been kind of a peripheral all-star throughout his career. I think he's made 3 all-star appearances, I want to say. So bounced around the NBA a bit. And now it looks like he's found the home here in Minnesota. Looks like his style fits well. And the Minnesota Timberwolves, Tim Connolly, who is their president of basketball operations, general manager, whatever. He is the archetype, the architect rather of this team, this Minnesota Timberwolves team. And he built the championship team in 2023 when the Denver Nuggets went on and won the NBA championship. And since they let him go, I talked about the buffoonish Kroenke family led by Josh Kroenke, the son, that since he left Tim Connolly go like 3 years ago, the needle has been pointed down for Denver and pointed way up for Minnesota. Of course, Minnesota beat Denver last year in the second round to get in to the Western Conference Finals. And surprise, surprise, like the team that Tim Connolly built, beaten by a team that Tim Connolly built to beat that team. Not surprising. And now it's the Timberwolves who are back in their second consecutive conference finals. They look poised for, a strong history now of competition, championship level contending. I don't know that you can make a case for anybody other than the Thunder with a brighter history than these Timberwolves at this point in the West. Maybe San Antonio, barring what happens in the Giannis sweepstakes this summer. But that's a big maybe, and that's if they get Giannis. Other than that, I would say these Timberwolves are basically a top 2 team in the West for the next several years to come. Whereas, of course, the Denver Nuggets are just just mired in inconsistency, and they are probably going to be lucky to get beyond the second round at any point in the next couple of years. Now, this is pretty much their ceiling. The last 2 years, they're probably going to be out in the second round. So get out of the first round, which is a coin toss either way for them to just get out of the first round. They went 7 this year with the LA Clippers. They only went 5 with the other LA team the year before against the Lakers, but the Lakers were clearly the better team in that 5-game series. They led that series virtually the whole way, 70%, some 71% of the time. They led that series, did the Lakers. So really, the Nuggets were fortunate just to get out of the first round since they let Tim Connolly go. They lose in the second round now in back-to-back years because, yes, I'm already counting tomorrow night as a loss. And if not Sunday, it's just delaying the inevitable. Whereas here we go, Minnesota, back-to-back Western Conference Finals trips. Shout out to them. Kudos to them. Tip of the hat to them. And shout out to Tim Connolly for all that he's done and all that he's accomplished there for them in a short period of time. Gary, we do have that Boston game as well. If you are just joining us here on the Scap Lounge here, the Scap After Dark Lounge, it is 12:20 on the East Coast here in the USA. And just recapping, if you're just joining us, the Boston Celtics, this series realistically should have already been over. They were up by 20 plus in games 1 and 2. They obliterated the Knicks in game 3. And, here they win by 25 points again. So essentially they've been up by 20 plus points in 4 of the 6 games of this series. Realistically could have won all 4 of those, should have won all 4 of those. 5. 4 of the 5 games in this series, they've been up by 20 plus points. So really this series should be all but over. Instead, they just live to go and play the Knicks in that game, ultimately that game 7 or 6, which I was trying to check. Sorry, I stumbled there for a second. I'm trying to see exactly when that game will be played. My expectation is, Gary, that it will be on Friday. But let me
the Knicks game's Friday at the Garden. I looked at it just now.
You did? I'm not actually seeing a game scheduled for Friday at this
Friday,
point.
May 16th at 8 o'clock on ESPN, Boston at New York.
Well, Yahoo Sports didn't seem fit to post that on. I see the Thunder Nuggets tomorrow, which just to touch on that game is an 8:30 tip actually tomorrow. Thunder Nuggets in Denver. This is actually the tightest line that I've seen in that series yet. The Denver Nuggets are getting 5.5. So tomorrow night, the Oklahoma City Thunder are installed currently as 5.5 point favorites on the road to close that series down. That is 5.5 sounds like a lot on the road in a closeout game against the best player on earth. But that's actually the tightest line. That's the most respect that the Nuggets have gotten all series long. They've been a double-digit dog in 3 of those, in 3 of the 5 games so far. 6.5 point dogs in the first 2 games at home. So only 5.5 point favorites tomorrow night for the Oklahoma City Thunder ultimately to get into the Western Conference Finals. That would obviously be a step up for them this year. They fell short of that goal last year when they lost to the Dallas Mavericks in 6 games in the semifinal round. Obviously, they've earned the right to at least play a 7th game in Oklahoma City, which would be Sunday. If somehow, by some way, the Nuggets miraculously shock the world tomorrow and win that game, game 6. I don't see it happening. Gary, I know you've got a little more hope than me, but I would be absolutely shocked and stupefied. The only mystique remaining now in that series to me, Gary, is why in the world have we not yet gotten an MVP named in this round? Like,
I don't know.
What is the NBA waiting on here? Like,
they should just announce it before the playoffs start, after the season concludes, because I know even if they do have the candidate voted for, it still appears very odd to the public. And, it does look like a potential conspiracy theory that they select during the playoffs and allow the playoffs to determine their vote. But that's why they need to be more transparent. So it's just like what happened with the Mavericks winning the lottery. That it looked like it's rigged, and now this MVP voting also looks like it could potentially be rigged. So why not just announce the winner before the playoffs even start? You don't have to worry about any of that, because this is crazy. I haven't ever seen one this close. They can't do a co-MVP, can they? Aren't there odd numbers of votes?
Yeah, I mean, there's no way. I mean, when you look, because the way the voting the way it breaks down is, I think I don't even know. There's some arbitrary number. I think there might be 100 people that vote on it. Maybe I'm thinking of the NFL, but I think the NFL has 50 people that vote on it. I think it's 100 in the NBA, and what they do is they list their top 5 in order, and then there are a certain number of points that are assigned to a first place finish, second place finish, third place, and so on. And then you add up all of those points for first, second, third, fourth, and fifth place finishes, and then determine at that point, whichever person has the most points when you add all of those things up. So it's essentially impossible for there to be a split. I don't know how. There have been a couple ties in the NFL. I know Peyton Manning and Steve McNair tied once in the AP MVP vote, but it's very rare even in the NFL. It's not possible in the NBA, in my opinion.
Yeah, I didn't think if any time you gave a split, this would be a good year between SGA and Jokic, and I wouldn't even have a problem with that. But I figured that the number of votes would be an odd number so that you couldn't have like a 50 votes for one, 50 votes for the other, or whatever. I just don't know what's going on either. I was asking you about this last week, even. I was talking about it on here. And then we expected it, game 5, we expected them to give the award to SGA. So what the heck are they going to do now? Obviously they're not going to give it to Jokic tomorrow.
I think if you're reading the tea leaves, the expectation would be such that Jokic somehow won it, which I don't think so. I think all of the straw polling I saw going on throughout the media, leading into the actual votes, which have again been conducted, the voting the voting was finalized before the playoffs even started. They've been announcing every other award. We know Coach of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved. Like, we know all of the outcomes of those already. And the only one they have yet to announce is the league MVP. And generally, it is announced and given to a player in the second round of the playoffs, presented to them before a game occurs. So last year, in Game 5 at home, Nikola Jokic was presented with the MVP. You would think that this year, in the last game, in Game 5 at home, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was going to be presented with the MVP. He wasn't. So if you're kind of reading the conspiratorial tea leaves, it's either that Jokic in a stunning upset, even though, like I said, all of the straw polling I saw leading in suggested that Shai was going to get about 70 of the 100 first place votes. So he was like a pretty easy win for him ultimately. And then, so if he didn't get it though, and yet maybe you're thinking, well, Jokic pulled an upset somehow. The straw polling was inaccurate. Jokic won. They're going to announce it in the morning tomorrow, give it to him to try to, motivate them to get it into a Game 7 for ratings for the NBA. The other bit of conspiracy that you could be sifting through here and reading the tea leaves is, well, the NBA has already determined that they're going to make sure that the Nuggets win tomorrow somehow to get them into a game 7, and then they'll present it to Shea in game 7 at home.
Right.
Those are pretty much the only things you can assume. Otherwise,
Right.
like, I don't understand why they've waited, because there's no guarantee. Look, I said last night there's a 0% chance that the Nuggets can win that series, but there is, of course, more than a 0% chance in reality. And there is a chance that the Thunder might not make it through to the next round. There's obviously a better chance that the Nuggets aren't going to make it through at this point to the next round. So, but like, one of these players are going to be eliminated here shortly within the next 3 days, and they haven't announced it even, let alone given any kind of time schedule or time frame to present them with the award. So,
you know what it appears like they're doing is waiting to see who wins this and then give the award to whoever's left standing in the conference finals. Even if that's not what they're doing, that's what it appears like, because they've waited so long and not even see their silence. You know, without communication, there's only imagination. So they are not communicating with us. They're silent. So what are we left to do? We're left wondering what the heck is going on. If they said, hey, we're going to announce it on this date, then okay. But they haven't even said that. So if they are going to give it to one of those guys, maybe they're waiting to determine. See, it's going to appear like maybe they're waiting to give it to whoever wins this series in the next round.
I mean, again, so you've added now a third conspiracy to the mix. If you are just joining us, Gary, I just want to welcome in anybody new here to the live stream at this point. We're almost an hour in, just kind of in the aftermath, wrapping up these 2 games tonight. Boston with a 25-point win over the Knicks. They will play on Friday night in the Garden to try to close that. That's going to be an insane atmosphere. It was crazy in game. It was absolutely crazy in game 4. And I think it's going to be tenfold of that tomorrow, Friday night, when they play to try to advance into the Eastern Conference Finals to take on the Indiana Pacers, who are now waiting after they beat the Cavs last night. And on the other end, just an easy win, an easy series for Minnesota. They lost badly in game 1 by, they were down by 20 throughout multiple stages of that game 1. Curry gets hurt in game 1, never to return, and it was 4 straight wins from there for Minnesota, a gentleman's sweep, and a series that just lacked any kind of real competition once Steph Curry got hurt. So those are the 2 games tonight. We're just kind of setting up. There's only 1 game tomorrow because the Cavaliers, as I said, they would have played tomorrow, but they're eliminated last night. So Indiana is through. They're awaiting the outcome of this Knicks Celtics series. So just 1 game tomorrow, the standalone, the marquee, the best series I'd say that we've seen. The Nuggets, I'll tell you this, if nothing else, the Nuggets have given the NBA the 2 most captivating best series of this 2025 playoff run. They go 7 with the Clippers in the first round, and now these have just been ridiculously competitive, compelling, and defensively oriented games for this Nuggets Thunder series. And so in setting up tomorrow night's game, Gary, real quick, I did just want to talk about that thing, defense, that buzzword that I just mentioned. This is something that I'm probably going to be doing a protracted deep dive and a longer look into once the Nuggets offseason begins, which in my estimation will be tomorrow night around 11:30 or midnight or whenever. If the game tips at 8:30, probably around 11 o'clock, actually, their off season will officially begin. And I can look into this. The underrated defense that Nikola Jokic is playing in the postseason. Now, this is something, if you guys are new to either the After Dark lounge area right now, or just new to my videos or my content in general, one thing that I believe very much in is on-off numbers. So let me explain to the audience here, Gary, real quick, what the on-off measures. Basically, it takes every minute, every second that a player is on the floor versus every second that they are off the floor. we extrapolate out those seconds every second and determine how many points per 100 possessions, which 100 possessions normalizes the rate so that we can compare to all players, regardless of how many minutes they may or may not play throughout any collection of games. So, and just so you know, there's about 100 possessions per team in the NBA this year. So this is basically for a game. So the on-off will measure how many points you add. You can measure it on offense and defense and determine what the net total is on both sides of the ball to figure out how many total points you add or lose for your team per game, basically, extrapolated it out per 100 possessions that you're on and off the floor. Nikola Jokic dominates the NBA in this category. He is the unequivocal GOAT of on-offs. A lot of people suggest various reasons as to why that is. They suggest that he plays more minutes with the starters than other people. They suggest that the Denver Nuggets have no viable backup level center, no replacement level center, so that's one of the reasons why they crater. They look so pitiful without him. For whatever reason, Nikola Jokic always leads the NBA in these on-off metrics by a substantial amount. And that's why he's won 3 league MVPs, and that's why it probably should have been 5 straight league MVP awards. But just to set this game up for tomorrow, I really just want to look at the 2 MVP candidates, and I won't keep the chat long tonight, or you, Gary. You know, I do need to catch up on my sleep. I was up till 7 a.m. today on the East Coast after that live stream last night and the video, but this is something that I'm just setting up because it's something to keep an eye on tomorrow and something to keep an eye on that I will be doing a video at some point later on after the Nuggets season officially is over. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander this year in the postseason, which for them, Gary, now at this point, they played 4 games in the first round and they have played now 5 games in the second round. So this is in 9 games. So a sample size of 9 right now for this, which I'm about to rattle off. The Thunder with Shai on the floor offensively per 100 possessions is 3 points per game worse. So the Thunder are losing 3 points per 100 possessions that the soon-to-be league MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, is on the floor in the postseason. Now, he's generally regarded as a great two-way player, an elite defender. Like, one of the reasons he's talked about and lifted up over Nikola Jokic is because he plays such great defense. So on the other side of the ball, on defense, again, the Thunder are 3 points worse with Shai on the floor than without. So they're actually 3 points better when he's on the bench per 100 possessions. So that's literally losing 3 points on both sides. And that produces a net on-off differential of -6. So in 9 games this year in the postseason, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is losing 6 points per game per 100 possessions that he's on the floor versus when he's not. Conversely, Nikola Jokic, who everyone that knows me or knows my content or follows me in any capacity knows that I believe Nikola Jokic is the true league MVP. Their sample size is a bit bigger because they played 7 games, so 3 more games in the first round, and therefore they have played now 12 games. So in a 12-game sample size now in this postseason, there are some shocking things going on with Nikola Jokic's on-off. First and foremost, they're only 8.5 points better offensively with him on the floor. Now, I say only because while they're about 9 points better with Jokic on the floor than off, that number has hovered around 20 in the last couple regular seasons. It was 20 last year in the playoffs. So for it to only be at 9 right now is actually kind of startling and surprising. But the big bit of news here, are you ready for this? Scap Live After Dark Lounge. Gary, are you ready for this? Yep. The Nuggets are 10 points better with Nikola Jokic on the floor defensively. So when he's not on the floor per 100 possessions, they're 10 points worse. So when
Right.
you add it all up, he's still producing his net rating, his net, ad per 100 possessions is still plus around 20. So to recap, Shea is -6. Jokic is plus 20. So Jokic is contributing 26 more points than Shea Gilgeous-Alexander through the playoffs to this point. But the big shocker is usually Jokic is about even on defense. Like they don't get better or worse, or maybe they get like 1 point worse when he's on when he's not there for or when he's on for defense. But then on offense, they're like 20 or 25 points better. So the net is still kind of the same. They're still like 20 points better with Jokic than without, which again, Shea's -6. But the big shocker to me when I looked at this today is 10 points better on defense with Nikola Jokic. Just a complete underrated defensive player. He's not going to give you the gaudy block totals. He's not going to look like this leap off your TV screen rim protector. But in terms of his on-ball defense, his willingness to get in there and fight through screens, to switch, to do whatever, move his feet, help out on the perimeter. The steal totals, he's leading the NBA playoffs right now in steals. He was second in the NBA in steals per game in the regular season. He's leading the playoffs in steals right now. And then the way he controls the glass with his rebounding, which he's averaging 15 per game rebounds right now in this series. So Nikola Jokic, highly underrated defender, in my opinion. So that's a video that I think you guys can keep an eye out for probably after tomorrow when the Denver Nuggets offseason officially begins. And Gary, the narratives will start settling in then soon thereafter. Right. All of the nitpicking about Nikola Jokic, blaming him for the loss, saying he's not capable of winning, blah, 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 blah. People will be then nestling in on me, attacking me, roasting me for lack of consistency because, I blame all these other players. Anyway, if you're out there in the comment section right now and you're saying, yes, Skap, you do that. Yes, Skap, I'm one of these people that think that. I put something up today, actually, just a little pre-video to grease the tracks of my soon to be spirited defense of Nikola Jokic once they're eliminated in this series. But you can go ahead and check that out. It's about it's a response to a Kendrick Perkins tweet. Which Gary, have you seen that video? And if not, no big deal. But have you seen the tweet that I'm referring to? Do you know what I'm talking about with this Kendrick Perkins thing?
Kendrick Perkins talking about, when LeBron's tired, he needs to retire. But when Jokic is tired, he needs more help. Doesn't he say something like we need to stop moving the goalposts or something? Something just so idiotic and out of context.
Exactly right. Yeah, I was looking to see if I saw the screenshot of it pulled up that I could just post it. I don't, but yes, to paraphrase, it's something like when Bron at 40 gets tired, we question his greatness. When Jokic gets tired, he needs more help. We need to stop moving the goalposts. So the video that I put up today is kind of in response to that, which is just a ludicrous and ridiculous kind of comparison because LeBron has Luka Doncic. Like if Nikola Jokic had Luka Doncic, then
right. Exactly.
Any criticisms that you want to throw at Nikola Jokic are totally fair. Like if Nikola Jokic had Luka Doncic right now and was about to go out 4-2 after they were up 2-1, well, I would be absolutely okay and endorsing any kinds of criticisms that are going Nikola Jokic's way. But he doesn't have Luka Doncic. He didn't have Dwayne Wade. He didn't have Kyrie Irving. He didn't have Anthony Davis. You give Jokic all of those players, and then I say in the video, there are excuses and there are reasons. LeBron has excuses. Nikola Jokic has reasons. LeBron excuses for why he fails with all of this great supporting talent that he's had around him for like 15 plus years. Jokic reasons for why he fails because he doesn't have enough help, and he never has, and he likely never will as long as he stays in Denver. But yes, you can check that video out as soon as the game ends tomorrow around 11 o'clock. I will likely, I am going to be out tomorrow. I'm going to be doing something, hopefully during the game. But I will be somewhere, but I will be watching the game. So I could talk about it. Probably I will join the live stream here in Scap Live After Dark tomorrow night. And we can unpack whatever happens tomorrow. I'll probably look, this is my only hope though, Gary.
Right.
My only ask. Just lose by like 30 points. Like if you're gonna lose,
no, they're not.
Which I think tomorrow. They will. Like just lose.
Not in Denver.
Please, well, whatever. Then be down by like 10 and like just be fighting. Get it to like 8 or 9. But like you can never really get it over the hump. They never make a serious run. Don't go into the fourth quarter with a lead again. Like they had an 8-point lead yesterday. They had a 6-point lead on Sunday. Like they look like they could win either of those games. Don't tease and toy me around for a third consecutive game and lose. So like just lose if you're gonna lose. But I'll likely be on here anyway, no matter how it goes tomorrow night. Win, lose, blowout, close game, whatever. I'll probably be on here. And then after that, I'm sure I'll do some kind of a video again on it. And then at that point, because I think the series is over tomorrow, I'll do my big probably Nikola Jokic defense there. And then I will, build, maybe some defensive piece about him, which I just kind of outlined and highlighted there. First and foremost, and we can get into this more tomorrow, Gary, they need a general manager. Obviously, I mentioned tonight, if you're just joining us, the Timberwolves move on to the Western Conference Finals for the second consecutive year. And they've been great around Tim Connolly, who Tim Connolly was the guy that constructed the Denver Nuggets, but they've let a lot of those guys, a lot of those pieces go since Tim Connolly was let go by the Kroenke family in Denver. So, and now they don't even have a general manager. So they've installed, obviously, Adelman as the de facto interim coach, which I believe he's done more than enough to prove that he's deserving to get that job moving forward and get that interim coach tag removed and be the full head guy next year to start the year. But they don't have a general manager. So that's first and foremost. They need to determine who that guy is going to be in the offseason. And then they need to figure out, like, I think it's pretty plain and obvious to see here, Gary, as they're on the cusp of another second round playoff elimination, that look, they just don't, this team doesn't have enough built around Nikola Jokic, but that probably is a story, a conversation, and a discussion for another day, I think. It's been a very long week, Gary. Yesterday was a very long day. We now have resolution in some of these series, so the teams are being thinned out. There's going to be less things to talk about moving forward. Hopefully my schedule will get a little bit lighter moving forward as well. We're down now to really, we just have 2 series now going on. We have Boston and the Knicks still going, and we have the Thunder and Nuggets still going. Both of those games could be over in the next 2 days. And then at that point, we're down to just the final 4 teams left. We're driving towards that West and Eastern Conference Finals. So we'll keep an eye on that. Gary, anything for you to say here? I think we're getting ready to wrap things up here for the evening. Thank you for joining me again today. It's been a harrowing 24 hours, really not a lot of sleep following that just absolute gut-wrenching game 5 last night in Oklahoma City for me. Obviously, many of you guys were here last night as well and supporting me. I do appreciate it. Gary, anything that you would like to add on our way out here?
Just that I give the Nuggets a 50-50 chance tomorrow night, and then I give them about a 10% chance in Game 7, which I don't think they have much of a chance, but I'll give them 10%, mostly because they're going to get, if they push it to Game 7, they will get an extra day of rest, and that will benefit them greatly.
Yeah, that's a good that's actually a good point. I don't want to cut you off, but they have had, I believe they've gone every other day this whole round. So this whole series has been every other day. But keep in mind, they had to play 7 against the Clippers, so they only had a day off from the end of that series to the start of this series, whereas the Thunder swept the Grizzlies, so they had like a full week off. And so there was a big rest discrepancy coming in already. And then, of course, look, we've talked about it. The bench has been a massive advantage for the Thunder in this series. It was 22-10 last game, 35-8 in game 4 on Sunday in Denver. So really just more of a rotation outlook throughout each individual game for the Thunder. So the players are just fresher in the fourth quarter to close those games off. That's why the Nuggets haven't been able to close those games off in the last 2 games. You, Gary, have routinely mentioned and brought up the fact that Michael Malone didn't rest Nikola Jokic in game 7 last year against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And that's why he and they were incapable of closing that 20-point lead off that they had in the third quarter. But like, here we are again. Like these players are totally gassed. They have to go the distance, basically. I think Jokic played 44 last game, and he played every second of the second half. Murray played, I think, 43 in that game. So it's like, I get it. I understand what you're saying, what your point is, but like, ultimately they're losing so much when they go to the bench. Like, and particularly they lose so much when there's no Nikola Jokic. We talked about the on-offs. It's a 20-point disadvantage when he's not on the floor.
2023 when they won. Okay, they had Bruce Brown, KCP, Jeff Green, and even Reggie Jackson, who would contribute a few minutes here and there off the bench. So they were a lot deeper. And so they hadn't done a good job of the salary cap to try to keep some depth in the rotation. And now they're left scrambling. And hopefully they address that. You and I agree. We give the blame really on Calvin Booth because we're not constructing and the ownership in Calvin Booth. Because Mike Malone was a good coach. I think David Adelman's a pretty decent coach as well. And the players are, they're not all-stars around Jokic, but they're good enough. You had good enough pieces in 2023. You had some more depth to provide some more rest. So they had everything put together and they just let it fall by the wayside. And now they're picking up the pieces, but they did get rid of Calvin Booth. So hopefully maybe they can reconstruct the team to look more like it did in 2023 moving forward. And maybe Jokic will get a second championship within the next couple of years or so.
Well, Gary, just to your point, in the year they won the championship, they had their team looked a lot different, right?
Yeah.
Like they had Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, Aaron Gordon, and Michael Porter Jr. So the core 4 were the same,
right?
But you had Kentavious Caldwell-Pope was their 5th starter, who was an 11-point per game player. Their first guy off the bench, their 6th man, was Bruce Brown, who was a 12-point per game scorer,
right?
And then they also had young Christian Brown on that team, Jeff Green, and yes, as you highlighted, Reggie Jackson. So they had 6 guys scoring in double digits in those playoffs. And obviously that was like Jamal Murray's best run in his life. Jamal Murray, that playoff run, 26 points per game on 47% shooting from the field and 40% from 3. Of course, Jokic for that playoff run, 30 points per game, 14 rebounds, and 9.5 assists on 55%. So Murray was obviously lights out, but like Nikola Jokic was just insane in that playoff run. So yeah, we get all the way to where we are now, and it is what it is. All these players are a bit depreciated now. They're definitely much thinner. All of them are playing many more minutes. Murray and Jokic are both over 40 minutes per game on average for the 12 games that they've played to this point in the playoffs. And then Christian Brown is at 39. Aaron Gordon's at 38. So these guys are playing advanced minutes. They really don't have anything coming off the bench. Russell Westbrook is basically it. Peyton Watson is their next, the guy that gets the next most minutes off the bench, other than Russell Westbrook. He only plays 13 minutes in the playoffs right now and only 4 points per game. So they're basically have a 6-man rotation. Like they try to find their way through it from game to game. But my point, why we started down this road is they just don't have a lot of depth. So unfortunately, they lose a lot when they go to the bench, which is why they have to push these players. But now when it adds up and it's every other day that they're playing, and the Thunder have like 10 deep and they had a week off coming in, like it's just all adding up. So
I say go get Bruce Brown back this offseason because I think he's off the Pacers now. And I think he went to the Raptors. I think he may be a free agent now. I would try to get – he's only 28. I mean, they just need some more depth. That's all they really need.
Yeah, Bruce Brown is he is in he actually ended the year in New Orleans.
Toronto to New Orleans.
So he was he was traded traded from Toronto to New Orleans. Yes, he is 20. This was his age 28 season. So yeah, he'll be 29 next season. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's obviously been a tough couple years of attrition for them in terms of things that they've lost in the summers throughout various stages of free agency and so forth. The Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, look, I mean, I don't know what you can say about that one, Gary. Like, yeah, I'm sure they wanted to bring him back. They were capped out. They've made bad decisions, obviously, like we talked about. But the contract he signed was outrageous. Like right now, like this year, Gary, he played 77 games in Orlando, 8.5 points per game. So he 8.7 points per game, 2 assists and 2 rebounds in 77 games. And he started 77 games. So, and he shot like 43%. I don't like, do you know what his contract was for? Do you recall this?
Are you asking me to look it up or are you quizzing me?
Off the top of my head, it was like $65 million or something. But yeah, let me just look it up real quick.
66 million, signed a 3-year, 66 million contract as a free agent.
That is absurd. So you're telling me like, look, he was a valuable piece to the Nuggets roster, and but like not for 22 as their 5th best player, whatever, sure. But like, what world are we living in where Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who this year was a starter, started 77 games and scored 8.5 points, and is making $22 million a year? Like that's like Michael Porter Jr. range of terrible contracts. So like that is a shocking contract.
Yeah, you can't blame them for not re-signing him for that much or him leaving, because that would set him up for life if he's smart with his money. 66 million in 3 years, he could live off that the rest of his life.
Yeah, I think look, there's a couple really bad decisions made by non, after Tim Connelly left, there were some bad decisions made. I'd say like probably the worst contract on their books by far is Zeke Naji, who is in his 5th year in the NBA. 5th year. He's 24 years old now. 4 point per game career scoring average in 5 seasons. His best season was the 2nd year in the NBA when he scored 6 points per game. And Gary, this contract is completely out of control. He signed a 4-year, $32 million contract. So he's making like $8 million a year to score 3 points per game, which is just ridiculous.
Who is that?
That's Zeke Naji, which you might not even know who that is.
He's on the Nuggets? He's on the Nuggets. He doesn't even play, and he's getting.
I know. That's what I'm telling you about the roster build here.
Getting $8 million a year to not play.
$8 million a year, Gary, in his 5th year.
So he's playing almost as much as you and I. He's not playing much more than you and I.
Yes, pretty much.
He's paid to do cardio in the practice.
Like when I look at this year, this 2024-2025 season for the Denver Nuggets, like, okay, Jokic is making $51 million. Okay, like that's
right. Obviously, like, he's worth it.
Well deserved. Jamal Murray somehow is only making $36 million this year. I think that's because Jamal Murray signed on an extension in the summer, so he's on for another 5 years after, I believe, this. But that it tagged on to his final year this year, so he played out his existing. So he's only making 36 this year. He's 46 next year, 50 the following year, 53 the year after that, and 58 million the year after that. But for this year, Jamal Murray, 36 million, Michael Porter Jr., 35 million, Aaron Gordon, 22 million. And then the fifth highest paid player on this roster is Zeke Nnaji at 8.9 million, nearly $9 million a year for Zeke Nnaji as the fifth highest paid player on this lineup to score. He's scoring 3 points per game right now. For the season, for the playoffs, in case you're wondering, 1.4 points per game in 5 games appeared in. So he hasn't even played. They played 12 games. He hasn't even played in 7 of the games in these playoffs. He's averaging 1 point per game and making $9 million. He's the fifth highest paid player on the team. Gary, the next highest paid player after Zeke Nnaji, the sixth highest paid player right now at $5 million and change is Dario Saric. So, like, these are the roster construction points that I'm talking about that has shackled the Denver Nuggets and crippled them, crippled their depth. And it's the reason why Nikola Jokic has to play 45 damn minutes a game and is totally gassed out by the fourth quarter because of these freaking decisions. $5.5 million for Dario Saric, who in the playoffs right now hasn't played yet. He has not even played a single game, and he's the sixth highest paid player on the team, making $5. It's craziness.
And those
right
contracts are what prevented us from keeping KCP or Bruce Brown. When you think about those, then getting KCP for $22 million is not so bad. At least he gives us some depth. Those guys, signing those guys for those outrageous prices are why we couldn't afford to keep either Bruce or KCP. If we could have kept one, even if we could have kept just one of those guys, then maybe, because last year we had KCP, if we had him still with a healthier Jamal Murray, it might put us over the edge, because last year Murray was hobbled, playing on like one leg. You saw what he did against the Lakers in the first round, and then he was gassed in round 2. If we had KCP still, and maybe we could have if not for signing these guys, all this $9 million a year to not play.
It's literal insanity. They're lucky. Christian Brown's only making $3 million. So, like, they're lucky they're on him.
Oh my God. Yeah.
They still have him on a team option for next year at only $5 million. So they're lucky they've got him cheap. They're probably going to lose him. That's probably like Dario Saric is like, this is madness to me. Like, Zeke Nnaji he's committed through like 2028. So, like, he's on the books next year for $8 million, and Dario Saric has a player option for $5.5 million next year too. So, like, this is just unbelievable. This is madness to me. Like, so they're
it's Calvin Booth. It's ownership and Calvin Booth. They have sunk the Nuggets.
It's crazy when you look at these. When you actually look at these contracts, it's nuts. Like, they've got like Julian Strawther on the books through 2027. They've got Deron Holmes on the books through 2028. Like, I just don't understand. Like, some of these are back end team options, fine, but like these are terrible contracts. And like, I love Aaron Gordon. Like, Aaron Gordon realistically is probably the second best player on this team,
right?
But like, I mean, he's guaranteed in the mid 30s. Like, he's only making 22 this year and next year, but he spikes up to 34 million, 37 million in the back into 2028, 2029. So like, Aaron Gordon, like, he's 30 next year. So, I mean, he's going to be like 34 years old, making $38 million a year. And then like Jamal Murray, he's going to be making $58 million a year at like 33, 34. This team stink. They have no shot. Like this team is absolutely cooked. That's why it's so devastating that the Nuggets have fallen. They've come so close these last 2 years. I think if they won that game 7 against Minnesota, they probably win the title last year. I think if they found the way to win either of the last 2 games, they probably win the title this year. The fact that they've come this close against with these crazy odds against them.
Right.
But like, it ain't going to get any better. Like, it's just going to get worse and worse because these contracts are going to get worse and worse as time goes on. As these players get older, they're underachieving these contracts now. Like, what happens when they become 34 years old? Like, they're going to be really underachieving them then. So this is just a devastating outlook, really, for the prospects of Nikola Jokic ever competing. Like, I'm not even saying winning. Like, this dude's going to be lucky to get out of the second round for the next like 4 or 5 years. But we're kind of on our way out, wrapping things down. 90 minutes in here on the Scap Live After Dark Lounge.
We got a couple more super chats.
I see that. Yes, we just ticked over the 1 a.m. hour here on the East Coast of the US of A here. But CP is back in with the MYR, where I don't know what that is in terms of, I'm curious because I thought that was part of CP's handle. But I was wrong about that. So I'm just curious. It's a Malaysian ringgit. That's what MYR stands for. So we have some Malaysian currency floating around here in the Scap Live lounge area. And CP is a regular contributor here actually in the lounge. And CP is, I guess, in Malaysia. So shout out to you, CP. Welcome in from Malaysia. Hello. Thank you very much for being here and for sponsoring us. And I'm very proud to have you in the lounge here all the way from Malaysia. What does CP have for us, Gary?
I'll skip the Nuggets games entirely from now on. My heart simply can't handle this amount of pain anymore. And I'll be honest with you, Skap, I turned the game off around halftime yesterday. I didn't watch the second half because I couldn't. No, I did watch like the third quarter. It was around the fourth quarter. I was doing some other things. I said, I can see where this is going. I knew the Thunder were coming on a run and the Nuggets were going cold. And I didn't want to do. I learned I got my heart broken last year in Game 7 of Timberwolves, and I was devastated because I did not expect that. Because remember at the end of Game 6 when the Nuggets were getting blown out and Jokic stood up on the sideline and looked like Kobe Bryant? I was like, man, the Timberwolves are cooked. And I was in the Nuggets Facebook group talking with those guys. I was like, hey, I'm a Spurs fan, but I love the Nuggets because they remind me of the old Tim Duncan Spurs. This is the modern day Spurs. Jokic, Wembanyama's the future, but Jokic is the present. I'm on board with the Nuggets. Right now, they're a team I'm going for, even over the Spurs, because I want to see Jokic get some championships. I thought they were easily going to take it last year, and when they lost, like my whole reality just became distorted. Like the world changed kind of. And that's what you basically felt last night in a way. I already went through that. CP here's already went through that. And even tomorrow night, I'm not even quite sure I'm going to watch the whole thing because I can't watch them get eliminated.
Here's the thing about last game and about last year. Like, Jamal Murray, look, Nikola Jokic is the best player on the planet. CP again, thank you.
Right.
Nikola Jokic is the best player on the planet. He's the best player on the Nuggets. But I've been harping on this premise that like he needs like one consistent, reliable all-star level player. When Jamal Murray is that, they win. Like, period. So like while Jokic is the best player, he's just so consistent that really Jamal Murray is kind of the most important player because we already know what Nikola Jokic is going to give us. Now, he's been off some games this series. There's no doubt about that. But by and large, we know what Jokic is going to deliver from game to game, from series to series. Jamal Murray is the wild card. And when Jamal Murray is this alleged playoff Jamal or playoff Murray that I hear about all the time, when he is that guy, the blue arrow, when he's pulling these shots out, and hitting these contested, impressive looking shots, like they are very difficult to beat. He was that guy in the third quarter last night. And when he was doing that, they were up by like their lead was vacillating back and forth to like 9 to 12 points. Like they were looking dominant in the third quarter stretches of that game. Just to really highlight what I'm saying here. Last night in the third quarter, Jamal Murray. So in the third quarter, which the Nuggets won overall 30-24, and at stages of that quarter, they were up by double digits throughout much of it. Jokic was 5 of 6 for 12 points, but Murray was 5 of 10 for 13 points. So those two, and then literally only 5 points from the rest of the lineup. But between those two, with Murray cooking, like when they have that two-man game going, and when Jokic is doing what Jokic always does, but when Murray comes along for the ride and is playoff Murray, like they can't be beaten. But the problem is in the fourth quarter, Murray gassed out. And look, like I don't want to begrudge Murray because just like Jokic, he's under an extreme amount of pressure and duress with all the extra minutes he's playing. But in the fourth quarter, Jokic was 4 of 6 for 13 points. He was still there last night, but Murray 1 of 6 for 4 points. So like, like that's what happened in the fourth quarter. So if those two guys, they're going to, like in game 7, they're going to, last year against Minnesota, like they're going to have to show up and stay there the whole way through the end of the fourth quarter if they can, while playing 45 minutes probably each. Like it's just a big ask and it's a big task. And to ask them to do it against a team that's going to run 10 at them tomorrow, they're all young, they're all going to be fresh. It's just I just don't see it coming. But CP, to bring your point home, last night, Sunday was bad enough. But last night, for them to overcome the devastation of Sunday and to come out with that concerted of an effort for like 43 minutes and then just gas out and lose like that when they were up like 9 in the fourth with like 9 minutes to go. That was one of the most devastating, brutal losses I've ever seen. Really, because I'm not that big of a fan of anybody today. Like I was trying to think today, because I'm a big Kobe Bryant fan, like what losses would be equally as devastating that I saw that Kobe had. Really none, because Kobe was either basically winning championships or like wasn't close almost. Like, right. Like when he was 2005, 2006, Kobe, like those teams were so bad. They were losing the first rounds every year. Like I've never seen like a team get so close that I was rooting for and fail like that, that I can think of. I mean, the worst losses for Kobe to me was probably like the Pistons final series, but that you could see that writing on the wall, the whole series.
Right.
And then the Celtics series in 2008, but like, again, you could see that writing. Maybe I'll tell you what, maybe that 2008 series that they lost, I think it was game 4, the wheelchair game. Let me just go to that. That was 2008 NBA playoffs. That was the wheelchair game for Paul Pierce. In that game, I'm pretty sure the Lakers had lost. They had lost both games 1 and 2 in Boston. And if you remember, this was back when that was the 2-3-2 format still. So it was shifting back for 3 home games for the Lakers. The Lakers won game 3. And then in game 4, they were up big in the first half, I believe. Let me check that out. Yes, they were up at halftime in that game. The Lakers were up 58-40. So they were up 18 at home in that game, in that series. And then they got hit with a 31-15 run in the third. So, and they opened up they were up by 20 at one point in the third early. So they blew, and then that was Paul Pierce got wheelchaired off, and then he came back in and they ended up winning that. So maybe had they evened that series up 2-2 then with game 5 coming, maybe that would be the only game I could think of in my lifetime, my fandom of Kobe Bryant for 20 years, that was as devastating as that game was, watching the way the Nuggets lost that game last night. So CP, I'm with you. It's going to be hard for me to even stomach turning the game on tomorrow, but I will, so I can come on here and talk about it with you guys in the aftermath. Then meanwhile, Gary, we put an APB out for John Ratcliffe earlier on in the show.
Right.
We haven't seen him since his Celtics took a big poop all over themselves in their pants, like soiled their pants, running out of their pants while they're on the court, basically going down 3-1, and Tatum suffering that devastating injury. John, we have not seen John since, who's a big Celtics fan, but John is back in now to the Scap Live After Dark area with this comment. Gary, what does John have for us?
The Celtics will win this series in 7. They broke the Knicks tonight. And I don't think so. I think the Knicks will close out in game 6.
Yeah, that's a bold declaration. I also have the Knicks in 6. I think this was just like an all hands on deck. Let's galvanize around each other. Like, you pull together, fight, win one for the Gipper, blah, blah, blah. Like, one, actually, I'm shocked because they have such puny, minuscule character on that team, and at the leadership positions, especially from Joe Mazzulla. So I am actually shocked that they came out with that strong of an effort tonight, in the face of everything that they're dealing with the Tatum injury, with them being down 3-1 coming into tonight. But kudos to them. I think the fact that they got up massive early and were just working the Knicks, played to their favor. I think if the Knicks had found a way to keep that game close, the Celtics probably would have quit late, because that's what they do typically, just choke and quit and just throw up and poop themselves, various things coming out of different orifices of their bodies most of the time. But credit to them for somehow finding a way with their loaded, stacked-ass roster that they have and the 40 points they got off the bench. But I do think the Knicks find a way with all of the emotion that will be on display in the Garden. And that's going to be just an electric atmosphere in my estimation. And I think that the Knicks are going to close that off ultimately in 6 on Friday. Yep. If not, yeah, it's going to be a hell of a game 7. One that I haven't seen coming, obviously, but that would be interesting to see. Either way, John, you're just delaying the inevitable. Quite frankly, it's not going to end well for you the rest of the way. If somehow, some way, your Boston Celtics pull a miracle and find their way through this series, I'm not even going to rule them out necessarily beating the Pacers at this point with the remnant, the skeleton crew that they have on hand with no Tatum there. But beyond that series, literally anyone that comes out at this point from the West, Minnesota, the Thunder, or the Nuggets, whoever gets through that Western Conference gauntlet that remains, that's going to ultimately just be the end of your Celtics. There will be no repeat bid here, John. But thank you for coming back in. And John is actually back in, letting us know why he has been absent from the lounge. Gary, what is John's reasoning here for not being in the lounge the last couple of days?
I had shoulder surgery. Thanks for caring.
John, of course we care about you here at Scap Live After Dark. Sorry to hear about your shoulder injury. Shoulders are tricky injuries. Especially, you're a young fellow, I think. If memory serves me right, you were born in the 90s, which would make you, in your 30s, maybe early 30s even. So I think my math is not great, but yeah, I think you could be as young as early 30s to mid-ish 30s. So shoulder injuries can certainly be tricky. And obviously, I am sorry to hear that, and I'm wishing you a very speedy recovery. So get well soon, John, and welcome back to the lounge here to Scap Live After Dark. And hell, I'll even root for your Celtics. I'll hope that maybe they can make some kind of a comeback to make maybe that shoulder pain feel a little more at ease moving forward. And then John is back again. John with his prolific donations is back into the lounge now with his sponsorship drops. Gary, what's this one from John say?
0-4 Red Sox, baby. Nothing is impossible for Boston teams.
That's true. There's been a couple. So 0-3 comebacks in sports history. I believe there's been, I want to say 2 in the NHL ever, 1 in baseball ever. This one that he's referencing, that they were down 0-3 to the New York Knicks, the New York Yankees. And they came back from that. So that was that Johnny Damon Ortiz team. What were the name? They had some name, the Misfits or the something. It's not the Misfits, but it's something along those lines. Then, of course, Johnny Damon went and joined the Yankees a few seasons later, which was bizarre because Damon, if you remember, when he played for the Red Sox, had that long hair, the beard, and then he goes and he's got to clean shave it all up to play for the Yankees. But anyway, John, yes, while it has happened like once or twice in baseball, once or twice in the NHL, the 0-3 has never been accomplished in the NBA. Your Celtics nearly did it 2 years ago. We talked about it early in their show when they nearly came back against Miami, but then again got it into a game 7 and pooped themselves as 9.5-point favorites at home, lost by 20 in that game. This wouldn't be an 0-3 comeback. It would be just a 3-1 comeback, which has been done, I believe, 7 times before. And it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility if Tatum wasn't hurt, but he is. So I really don't see any way through for them. And again, even if they do, John, don't get your hopes up, because it ain't going to happen against any team that is coming from the West. But thanks for stopping in, John, and welcome in RGN Cal back. RGN Cal is also a repeat contributor here in the lounge. Many thanks to you, and welcome in. Gary, what does RGN Cal have for us?
2025 offseason could see tons of good players moved.
It could. I think Giannis will be definitely on the move this summer, so it will be interesting. We'll have to wait and see exactly where he ends up. We've been talking about him. He is now officially open to exploring the, quote, best fits outside of Milwaukee. So, we'll see. I think it's interesting. It's not easy to make these moves. You need a team that possesses good young assets, good trade assets, and then a lot of them that could move them to make it worthwhile for Milwaukee, but also you cannot gut yourself to the degree that you won't have a good enough team and pieces to surround Giannis with to be a contender when he arrives. So there are not many teams that fit this profile, really just Houston, in my opinion, and San Antonio at this point. I think the Thunder do as well. The Thunder make a lot of sense if they don't win the championship this year. But with the way they have survived this just best shot the Nuggets had to deliver them, I think they're going to just breathe a sigh of relief going in against Minnesota. Minnesota, no slouch, probably a better team than the Nuggets, but I don't think they're going to be up to give quite the effort and quite the challenge that the Nuggets have delivered with the Thunder. I think they'll get through Minnesota fairly easily, and then whatever the hell comes out of the Eastern Conference, whether it be the Pacers, Knicks, or the skeleton crew of the Celtics, I think that that the Thunder are going to win the championship this year, and therefore they will be out of the Giannis sweepstakes, because you're not going to mess with a team that wins the NBA championship when all of your players basically are like 26 or younger, and you have all of the draft assets still at your disposal that you have. So they're really just two teams. I think it's just a 2-team race. It's going to be between Houston and San Antonio. I handicapped last night San Antonio in the lead for that because they got the second pick now in the draft following that draft lottery the other night. So great question, RGN Cal, or great comment. Thank you for that. And thank you for the support here. And we've got John in again, John Ratcliffe, clarifying. I was speculating that he was in his 30s, maybe as young as early 30s. Gary, what does John have as a point of clarification for us here?
I'm 31, and I got injured in August spearing an inmate after he grabbed a female officer.
Wow. So yes, John is a young buck, only 31. So John, I'm really happy to have you here in the lounge. I would think that you're on the fairly younger side for the Scap Live After Dark audience. I would think my audience typically skews a little bit older, a little more mature, if you will. So, it's always great to have you young bucks in here. Unfortunately, I'm so old. I think 31 is young. So at least, John, you have your youth for recovery on that shoulder. Hopefully that shoulder does heal up quickly for you. And, I'm wishing you a speedy recovery. For those of you, new to the lounge here, John was a pretty prolific donator in those first couple shows. I believe it was the first time we were on. Gary, this is like our 10th show, I think, now in the last like 12 or 13 days. But yeah, in that first show, there was some confusion. We thought John might be an actual inmate, but he quickly clarified that he is a correction officer. And so there you go. We've got the backstory on the shoulder injury, that he speared an inmate. John is also, he's a big boy. I think he's like 6'4", like 300 some and change. And, he's got numerous disciplines, fighting disciplines. I think Brazilian jiu-jitsu, just to name one of several. So, yes, hopefully that shoulder does heal up quickly for you, John. And again, welcome back to the lounge and good luck to your Celtics on Friday night. Although you will see me if you join us, I will likely be in here tomorrow night. Probably another dejected and depressing night. I'm sure I'm gearing up for tomorrow night, but I will be here as in some capacity as well as I can be. And finally, we've got B-Ball Fanatic in. B-Ball Fanatic, who has some kind of a Spurs question, Gary. So this might be right up your alley. What does B-Ball Fanatic have for us?
Spurs fan here. I hope we get Giannis or KD this offseason. Imagine Wemby and Giannis down low in the paint. No, B-Ball, that would be the wrong move because we are building for a potential dynasty in the future, sort of like what OKC has done. That's what we had a potential to build. KD would definitely be a huge monkey wrench in the middle of that growth. And even Giannis, I think, sure, we would look good for a couple years short term, but by the time Giannis's skills diminish and he's pushing his mid-30s, that's when Wemby's going to be coming into his prime, and then Giannis is going to be gone, and we're not going to be able to have built up. The only way I say this is a good move is if we give up draft capital to the Bucks, but we get their first round picks and say 2030, 2031, around the time Giannis leaves, but then we could grab some first round picks from Milwaukee at that time. That's the only way I think that works. We can give up high draft. We can give up the number 2 and the 14 this year, but I want a 2030 pick, a 2031 pick, because Milwaukee's probably going to be terrible at that time. So it'll probably be a high draft pick to compensate for when Giannis leaves in, say, 5 years or so.
Gary, this is another bad take. This is just, I don't want to spend too much time on this because I am trying to get out. I am trying to get some sleep tonight because it's probably another late night tomorrow night. And it wasn't even a late night. It was an early night last night in that I was up till 7 o'clock in the morning. So I basically didn't go to sleep really last night. So I definitely want to close down the lounge here shortly as John comes back in as he typically does. But I do want to just give you a little bit of pushback on this because I agree fully with you on KD. And me being a big a Nuggets guy, I want no part of KD. Nobody should want KD in my estimation. Again, I covered this last night. KD, I believe, has played in 227 of like 437 possible games since his age 30 season when he ruptured his Achilles tendon in that finals against Toronto with the Golden State Warriors. So basically, he has played only half of the time since that's like 6 years ago or 5 years ago. He has played just half of the time. He's now going to be 37 next year. He plays no defense at this point. He's going to, at best, give you like 50 games at best. And then who knows what he has left at the end of the season and into the playoffs. So I would want absolutely no part of KD. You are dead wrong. You could not be more far off base. I don't think on this Giannis thing. Like any team that has the assets, expendable assets that they could send to bring Giannis and not totally gut their team, which to me, for the Spurs, that would be whatever the hell they want outside of De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama. Like if you put Giannis and
Castle is more valuable than Fox. Hold on, Castle is the real deal. We build around Wemby and Castle.
No, Gary. Here's why. This is why. There's no guarantee that you win anything ever with a team built around Castle and Wemby. Like there's no guarantee. The only wild card on it would be Wembanyama's health. If Wembanyama is healthy, if he's playing and healthy, then Victor Wembanyama, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and De'Aaron Fox would 100% unequivocally win a championship. And you talk about all the time, like,
maybe
oh,
one.
I want the young, I want the young build.
I don't want one.
I want the young build. I want the young. You don't want the young build. You want a guaranteed championship because nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is ever. I'll take one guaranteed championship.
Not me. I want a dynasty.
Like 5 or 6 possible championships that might never happen.
I want 3 to 5 to 6, maybe even 7.
Those are maybes, though, Gary.
What's that?
Those are maybes.
And so it is. Giannis's health is a maybe.
It isn't.
Giannis is injured a lot.
It isn't.
Giannis is injured a lot.
Whatever. Health is the only unexpected.
Right.
Wembanyama's hurt a lot too.
I know.
He's hurt a lot too. He came in with foot problems. He's 7'6" or whatever he is with lower body issues. And now he's got this blood clot issue. Like, he's hurt. You want to maximize. You want to win. To me, this is just a differential in the way we see things. Like, you're welcome to have your perspective or whatever, your take on this. To me, if you ask me, like, would you like to be competitive and be a championship contender for like 5 or 6 years, or would you want just definitively to win one ring and then that's it? Like, I would take one ring.
No, I wouldn't.
Like, if you told me right now, Gary, for instance, as a Jokic guy, like, Jokic will win this year. Like, we can wave a fairy can wave a magical wand and guarantee that Jokic comes back, defeats the Thunder in the next 2 games, beats the Timberwolves, goes on and beats whoever comes out of the East and wins a second championship right now. Or if you tell me they make like a couple good moves in the offseason, get a lot younger with better defensive pieces, 3-and-D guys, more bench guys to fill out, keep Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon and Jokic, and do all that. And they're competitive contenders viably for the next like 5 years of the remaining Jokic prime. I take this year over that. Like, undeniably. Like, give me the bird in the hand over the whatever, the 3 in the bush, or whatever the hell you're banking on with your future build-outs. There's too many variables, too many unknowns. To me, Giannis Antetokounmpo, if he's healthy, is like peak-wise like a top 15 player ever. Like, and he's only 30. He'll be 31 this upcoming year. He's a 2-time league MVP. He's finished top 5 in MVP like every year for 7 straight years, where he's been first team all NBA. He's a defensive player of the year. Like, if you tell me, holy crap, Victor Wembanyama, who was well on his way to the defensive player of the year this year, maybe unanimous if he didn't get hurt and decommissioned. That guy is going to be your rim protector. And he can jet out on the perimeter too and back down. But then you say, okay, Giannis, you just contribute. You just be a roamer. Like, you're just a free agent defense or a free safety defensive roamer on the back and like giving support to Victor. Like, that team is winning champ. Like, I don't care how good.
Another thing is, here's another thing though. You're saying that you would absolutely hate the Spurs if they did that. I want my team to build the right way. I don't want to do the LeBron James route. I want to win the right way.
I respect that.
You said you hate the Spurs.
I can respect that.
Spurs there. You and I are going to become mortal enemies,
right?
Because you said you were going to hate the Spurs with every fiber of your being.
Correct.
I don't want cheap championships. I don't want fast food. I want organic food to last so that my body is healthy over a couple decades, more than just eating some food that tastes good for a couple years and then I get diabetes. I want health. I want a dynasty.
Well, you're not going to get a dynasty.
Professional sports.
You're not getting.
Hold on.
You're not getting a dynasty.
Who is the team in all of professional sports, every league of professional sports, who has had the longest streak of consecutive years making the playoffs? The Spurs over the Yankees, over the
How have they
Celtics,
looked
over
these
the
last
Lakers.
couple years?
What's that?
How have they been these last couple years?
I've said, but I'm talking about how good they were in the 90s up until the rebuild. I'm saying that's the standard. And we want to build a dynasty. What I was talking about earlier is bad management, like the Knicks and the Browns and the Jets. Well, the Spurs are the opposite. The Spurs have good management. That's why I trust we can build a dynasty to sustain over a couple decades, because that is Wemby's ceiling. I don't want a cheap, quick championship and then the whole team's dismantled. Stephen Castle is going to be really good. He's like 21. Wemby's like 21. Castle's won 2 championships in college. He's championship pedigree. This team is set for a dynasty.
Well, that's obviously speculative. We'll have to wait and see about that. I don't see it. I think, unfortunately, the Oklahoma City Thunder are also really, really young.
I agree. I agree.
They're all 26 or younger in the rotation. So basically, their top 10 rotation, the Thunder, are all 26 or under, other than Alex Caruso, who's only 30, and he's whatever, their 7th guy. He's like their 6th or 7th guy in the rotation. So I think that, unfortunately, the Thunder are the team that they're the dynasty. But I do believe, again, health is always a big if, but I do believe health assumed as a big if being with Giannis and Wembanyama. A team of Wembanyama and Giannis with De'Aaron Fox, that team would be better to me than the Oklahoma City Thunder. Maybe they don't outlast the Oklahoma City Thunder in terms of, like, maybe they just get one and then the Thunder get better with all the draft assets they have, which, yeah, I don't want to see that either, because if the Spurs go to that tactic, to your point, and build the super team, maybe the Thunder in an arms race decide they're going to take their assets, their draft assets, and they're going to try to build a super team too. And then you just have the total destruction of the NBA again. And it's just the competition is totally zapped, like it was when LeBron was in Cleveland, and then when Golden State neutralized his super team with a super team. So I mean, I definitely feel you there. We do have John Ratcliffe back in yet again with some kind of a notification about his roommate. Gary, what does John have today for us about his roommate?
It's my roommate's 31st day. Happy day, MJ. He's a Knicks fan.
Well, that sounds like kind of a sarcastic, or maybe just like kind of a two-faced, happy birthday wish from John for his roommate, because John is a big Celtics fan, and I guess his roommate is a Knicks fan. So I think John is just sticking it to his roommate right now, because on his roommate's birthday, his Celtics dismantled his roommate's Knicks, MJ's Knicks here, which obviously would have been a real happy birthday for MJ. John's roommate had his Knicks actually clinched a spot in the Eastern Conference Finals. So I will say it to MJ, happy birthday to you. I don't think John really means it. So I will give you a real heartfelt happy birthday to MJ. And John, many thanks to you for your continued support here in the lounge. We've got now Sully is back in.
Let me say something else. Talking about Giannis and guarantees, because if you've got this idea, it's a guarantee they're going to win with the Spurs.
It's a guarantee.
Look how terrible.
It's a guarantee.
Look how terrible. No, it's not. Look how terrible they were. The Bucks were when Lillard got there.
But Gary, they never played together.
And neither is Giannis and Wemby.
That's what. No, I'm saying they never played. They didn't have a playoff run at all.
And who's to say the same thing can't happen in San Antonio?
So, but I'm saying health is the only variable, Gary. It is a guarantee. If you tell me that they're assuming health, I can't assume injury. If we're assuming health, I can't go in and say, oh well, they might be hurt, so we just never should do it anyway. If you're you can't assume the worst, even though I do always assume the worst. But from a health standpoint, I'm assuming health, like all things equal. If the whole NBA is healthy, and if a healthy Giannis Antetokounmpo is playing with a healthy Victor Wembanyama and a healthy De'Aaron Fox, they'll win a championship.
What if Fox has to go in a deal? What if Fox is not in it? What if Fox goes to Milwaukee? Part of the deal.
The Milwaukee scaling down, they would want young assets. They would probably want Castle, and they would want draft picks, and maybe one other young asset as well.
So let me ask you this. Let's say it's Giannis and Wemby Do the other three starters matter to you? Or do you think it doesn't even matter what the other three starters? Let's say we're not
I
sure.
want De'Aaron Fox there. I would
Okay,
want a point. I want a viable.
What if Fox was injured or traded for some reason?
You're asking hypothetical injury things again. Like
no. Okay, but I'm asking, if they don't have Fox for some reason, whatever the reason is, are you still 100% confident Giannis and Wemby would win together, or only if De'Aaron Fox is included in that equation?
Yes, or a viable point, because I don't look. Giannis has played point the last couple of years. Obviously, he played point this year primarily. Like, he can initiate offense, but he has issues down the stretch. He's not a terrific ball handler. He has late game situational issues with initiating offense. I think I would want, and Wembanyama, like, whatever. I mean, you need someone to get him the ball. He can handle a little bit. He can put it on the floor. He's a good outside shooter based on his size. But like, I want a floor general. I want a guy to lead that offense and to get those guys in the right positions. And to me, I love De'Aaron Fox. I think he's only made one all NBA team. I think he was all NBA third team once, but he's better than that to me. I have loved De'Aaron Fox for a long time. He's a very clutch player as well. On top of it, I would want De'Aaron Fox there, but yeah, I get it. Like, I think it's all, we're speculating on all of it, but it is less speculation that a team with those three guys would win a championship than it is speculating team building for the next 5 or 6 years to try to amass some dynasty. Like, what about the trust the process in Philadelphia? Like, that looked like that was going to generate a championship. What about the Boston team? Like, they basically, if not for all those injuries last year, and if the Nuggets don't blow that 20-point lead in Game 7, like, the Boston probably never would have won a championship. Think back to all of the amazing draft picks they made, all of the assets they had. Like, you can never, like, it's just, to me, I would go for a title, and I want that title.
Our management has constructed a dynasty. We have good management, so that plays a big role as well.
I mean, Gary, when's the last time when's the last time the Spurs won a championship? 2014?
They had a 20-year dynasty. Right. 10 years ago.
It's been over a decade.
Right. And they are rebuilding but they had a 20-year dynasty. So if I have to rebuild, it takes a decade to rebuild another potential 20-year dynasty. I'm okay with that. So if, say, in a 50-year span, we have 2 dynasties and 1 decade of rebuilding, I'm okay with that, because that's what we're looking at. If you look at the last 30 years, 20 years, they have been an on and off dynasty with a decade of rebuilding, and now we're potentially rebuilding another potential 20-year dynasty. Giannis destroys that.
We just fundamentally disagree. You are a Spurs fan, and you want something that may or may not come to fruition. I think very highly of Giannis Antetokounmpo. Like, I would trade away, as thin as the Nuggets are, and as lacking as they are in depth. Me as a Nuggets fan, I would trade away Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, and Michael Porter Jr. to get Giannis Antetokounmpo next year. Like that's all. That's not all Nikola Jokic needs.
Yeah, of course.
So, like, quite frankly, I think fine. If the Spurs don't want to get in on it, we'll see, Gary. You know, the great thing about sports is
Stephon Castle and De'Aaron Fox than those 3 guys you just named. I love Stephon Castle. You're underestimating how damn good Stephon Castle is going to be. He won back.
He's never going to be better than Giannis Antetokounmpo.
No, of course not. But
there is never going to be a time
he's an integral part
where he's better than Giannis.
He's an integral part of the rebuild. I do not want to lose that integral.
Giannis is only 30. That's the other thing. Like, you're talking about him like he's Kevin Durant at 37. He's 30. Like, I mean, how old is De'Aaron Fox?
Like 26, I think. I want to say 26. I can check that.
He's 27 this year. He's 27 right now.
Right.
His birthday is December. So he will turn 28 next
Right.
December. So like, I don't know what we're like. I just go
And
for it at this
Castle is
point.
20. Castle is 20 years. I would rather keep Castle than Fox. Even Fox may be better right now, but Castle's going to be better. He is the integral part to this rebuild.
Gary, hang on. I must interrupt you because I see this super chat that I just simply have to get to from HP Luna. I just want to give HP Luna a shout out. Many thanks to you for coming in here and supporting Scap Live After Dark and supporting me and supporting my best friend in the entire world and my little mascot. She is my really just my coworker, my manager, my assistant, my shadow. So and she is sleeping as she is ever so soundly here at my side. But since HP Luna is asking, we need to give her some FaceTime here. This is everybody. Those of you who are just joining us, maybe are new to the live to the Scap chat. This is Luna. This is my best friend in the whole wide world. She's trying to wave, but it's very hard for me to make her wave when I'm holding her like this. But look at this adorable little face here. She runs my days. My whole day essentially revolves around her. She is not very happy that I pulled her up into these bright lights now. But HP Luna asked to see little Luna and also dropped us a very generous donation here in the lounge. So I just wanted to get Luna, the real star of the show. I wanted to get her, some screen time there. But Gary, we can continue fighting about this later, but there are some other super chats that we got to get to because we got to get to bed. At least I got to get to bed, Gary. We don't agree on this Spurs thing. We can get into this more either offline or maybe tomorrow night, possibly. But we've got Sully's Tech.
I'm not speaking from emotion, by the way. Juan, he said, "Oh, Gary's being emotional, no logic." So you're telling me Stephon Castle's not going?
Gary, I'm gonna have to mute you. We have to get through these. We have to get through these super chats. Okay, we have heard. I'm like a judge right now. We have heard your objection. It has been noted. It's overruled by me, though. It's overruled by me. But we need to get to these super chats because I need to get to bed. Damn it! It's been a long couple days. Sully's Tech Hub though is back in. Sully's Tech Hub from the beginning of the show, who has dropped us a number of super chats such that they are teaching English to business students or business professionals overseas using a Scap video actually to do so. Gary, are you up for reading Sully's Tech Hub's comment here?
That face when Scapperoni and Cheese calls you a young buck. I think teams only work if they have players who add value without the ball in their hands.
Yeah, well, I don't know how old Sully is, but unfortunately, I'm so old that 31 is a young buck. To me, unfortunately, I wish I were a young buck. I would love it if someone calls me a young buck. I refer to myself often as a kid or a boy, at least in my mind. I think of myself as a kid, but yes, that's actually a compliment. So, but Scapperoni, I kind of like that. Scapperoni and cheese, I kind of like that nickname. I love cheese. I love macaroni and cheese, and I love pizza with cheese. So, also I'll take that as a compliment, just like Young Buck is a compliment from me. And his premise of players adding value without the ball in their hands. Sure, great point. I mean, there's ball dominators throughout the league that we see that go and kind of hinder the production of other players when they go into certain systems or whatever, like the LeBron system. Generally you can put LeBron will make, this is an interesting dynamic of LeBron. He makes worser players look mediocre, but then he makes really good or great players look worse than what they actually are. So he kind of LeBron is to the detriment of other great players surrounding him. So that's a good point. I don't want to bring up Giannis, but he does contribute things off of the ball. He is a slasher. He's a good finisher at the rim. He plays defense when he's not totally dependent, like the only guy that the team is depending on to generate any kind of offensive flow. But yeah, that's a good point. I'm trying to think. Luka Doncic is another guy that really dominates the ball. It's interesting that Nikola Jokic averaged a triple-double this year in the NBA. He became the third player ever, joining Oscar Robertson in the 1961 season, and Russell Westbrook did it 4 times, most notably the 2015-16 season, I believe, maybe 2014. I don't know, 2015 maybe. Steph won back-to-back league MVPs, including 2015, 2016. So it must have been after. It must have been like 2016 or 2017 when he won it. Anyway, the first year Russ did it, he won the league MVP. He led the league in scoring, finished second in assists. Historical season, they only were like the 6th or 7th seed in the West, but he ended up winning the MVP. That year, he set the all-time NBA record in usage rate that year. So not only did he lead the NBA in usage, did Russell Westbrook, he set the all-time record. I think off the top of my head this year, Nikola Jokic in getting a near 30-point triple-double was like 19th league-wide this season in usage. That's, again, off the top of my head. So I do want to go and fact check that real quick. But that's just to show like how good Nikola Jokic is. Like I'm just basically just talking up Nikola Jokic at this point and showing that while he does have the ball, he touches the ball a lot, but that is not hindering the teammates. He's actually making teammates better in his case. But yes, I do want to fact check that. And actually, interestingly enough, to my point as to why people have been talking about Giannis, back to him. I don't want to light Gary up too much, but I think Giannis, people have been speculating that he's not as good defensively as he was in past years. That's because they're so freaking reliant on him offensively. And to that point, he was second this year. Giannis Antetokounmpo, second in usage rate. LaMelo Ball led the league in usage rate. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was third. Luka Doncic was fourth. Some other notables. Anthony Edwards, 8th in usage. Tatum, 9th. Donovan Mitchell, 11th. Victor Wembanyama, 12th. Anthony Davis, 13th. LeBron, 14th. Steph Curry, 16th. James Harden, 18th. All the way down at 19th is Nikola Jokic, a cat that scored a 30-point triple-double this year. And like, I think he was second in assists and like third in scoring. Like still, though, barely in the top 20 in usage. All of this just a tangent I got on from Sully's, do things off the ball. I agree. I don't like these guys that are just black holes that the ball goes to die essentially, and they generally do not make for good teammates. Anyway, we have RG Encal back in, who is a regular here to the Scap Lounge. So many thanks and welcome back in. And I don't even want to know what this says. I see Giannis's name. I fear that this is going to get Gary and I worked up again. But Gary, what is this Giannis comment?
Giannis still has his Shaq years at 34 and 35 in him.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when you look at Giannis, like, I hate to cross-compare generations and especially statistical averages. Shaq came in the league like 93-ish. Definitely a drastically different NBA. But when you look at the numbers, the statistics that Giannis has put forth throughout the course of his career, he's now, believe it or not, he's only 30. He'll be 31 next year. But he's now played 12 full seasons. He'll be into his 13th NBA season next year and going into his 31 year. And his numbers are ludicrous, like historically all-time ridiculous. Like just basically, he's a walking 30, 12, and 6 on like 55% shooting every damn year. It's been a couple of hard years of scoring for him, as we saw the usage rates very high. So the defense has kind of taken a hit because I think he's just utilizing so much energy on the offensive side of the ball and all of the responsibilities that he has on that side. So, it's, it is what it is. I think if you move Giannis off the ball, to bring in the last comment into this comment, if you move Giannis off the ball and you make him basically like a transitional specialist, like a rim slasher, an attacker, and a defensive, like free safety roamer, like, oh my God. Like, I think whatever team can make him, put him in that capacity would be scary as hell. So I don't know. We'll see. I think he fits. Look, Gary doesn't want him on San Antonio. Fine. I think he fits really well on Houston as well. And I think Houston's going to be really involved and engaged in there. So it'll be interesting to see. But it is what it is. Thank you, RGN Cal, for coming in and for dropping us that sponsorship. And finally, we have John Ratcliffe in again. John, welcome back in. John, thank you again for sponsoring us here on Scap Live After Dark. And what is this one from John, Gary?
No, legit. He's hammered laughing. Thank you. Appreciate it. Much love. MJ. Who's MJ? I thought your name's John
No. See, Gary, you were maybe just a little too worked up about our Giannis conversation, but a couple of John super chats ago, he mentioned that his roommate, right, whose name is MJ. So his roommate's name is MJ.
Okay.
It was his 31st birthday tonight, and MJ is a Knicks fan. John is a Celtics fan. So I kind of thought there was some kind of an ironic birthday wish coming from John, and kind of just smearing his roommate MJ's face in his Celtics dominant win tonight on MJ's birthday of all days, instead of wishing for his roommate to just have a nice, happy New York Knicks coronation on his birthday. But apparently, John was giving that was a real birthday wish, a real birthday shout out to his roommate MJ. So many thanks to, I guess, John from MJ for the birthday wishes. And John, thank you for your support here. And MJ, thank you for watching as well. It sounds like you're watching alongside John. So thank you, and welcome into the lounge here. Welcome in, and good night, obviously, because I've been trying to get out of here. It is now approaching 2 a.m. on the East Coast. This one went a little bit longer than I was anticipating, but we just get on a roll here sometimes in the lounge. One thing leads to another. Gary and I were kind of worked up over this Giannis conversation. Maybe we could continue the conversation at some point tomorrow, but there is a different night, obviously, for that. Maybe it will be tomorrow. I think tomorrow is going to be a tougher night for me. I had a little more bounce in my step tonight than I did last night. Obviously, I think tomorrow night's going to be another tough night for me when I crawl into the lounge after. To me, the expectation is that the Denver Nuggets will be eliminated from the playoffs officially tomorrow. They unofficially were yesterday, as far as I'm concerned. But that, again, is something for a different night. Congratulations to the Boston Celtics for finding a way tonight to get to that win and get it to within 2 more games of shocking the world. The game 6 will happen tomorrow night or Friday night in New York. So that's going to be a big hurdle, obviously, for the Celtics to clear. The Minnesota Timberwolves advance to their second consecutive Western Conference final. It's the first time in their franchise's history that they've accomplished that feat. So congratulations to them. The Golden State Warriors, tough way to go out. They won game 1, then lost 4 straight because of Steph Curry's injury. So hopefully something better coming for them in the future. They've got a lot of work to do, I think, in this offseason. And one more note from John here on our way out tonight from the lounge. John says, much love was from MJ to you, man. So MJ, many thanks to you for the well wishes. And MJ, again, happy birthday to you. Enjoy it. 31, great age. I was loving life when I was 31, just a young lad like you two. So you guys have it all in front of you, so to speak. Have a good night. John, again, speedy recoveries to you on that shoulder injury. Sorry to hear about that. And everybody out there in the lounge still at this point, we have about 200 on. I would imagine that everybody in here are just faithful followers here to Scap Attack. Many thanks to you. If for some reason you have not subscribed as of yet, please do so. We're marching towards 100,000 subscribers, hopefully this calendar year of 2025. And you might want to hit those notifications as well, because I do crazy shit. I'll post videos sometimes at 6 a.m. Like I did yesterday, maybe at 9 p.m. like I did tonight. And ultimately, I may just crawl on to some live till 2 a.m. like I've been doing most nights. So make sure the notifications are on. And many thanks for joining me. Gary, many thanks to you. Go get like a hot tea or something. Cool down on the Giannis thing. We can rediscover that maybe in another show at some point. And guys, until next time, have a great night.